Howdy folks, good morning, afternoon, evening, tea time, whatever the fuck time it is in your part of the world, and welcome back to the Touchpad Warrior YouTube channel. I'm your host, Dubs, J-Dog, Ginger Snap. That's my rap name, I'm sticking to it. We're gonna go over some of the Necrolord Warrior things, because I didn't expect it, but we actually got a decent amount of overwhelming positivity on that why I chose Necrolord video. And I'll be honest, now that I'm going back to work, being that the YouTube content I made before, I was not working, back in work now. That was just a vacation for Shadowlands and stuff. It was really difficult for me to keep up on making YouTube content. It's, 30, 40 hours a week a job, 30 hours a week of streaming, 5 to 10 hours of social media work, etc. I couldn't figure the time to allocate correctly to be able to at least make a YouTube video a week, which is realistically what I wanted to aim for, at least one every 2 weeks. But this is going to be a kind of improv, not so fancy YouTube video, which I guess is kind of what we do. Anywho, I'm just going to give you guys a brief summary on what I've done in the game since then. And yes, I am indeed still a Necrolord Warrior. But hey, I hit 1800. Let's get it. I did the things, guys. I did it, folks. Me and my sad banner, we pushed it. It was awesome. And we're just going to go into a little bit of that, and I think what we're going to heavily focus on for this video is how I would like to see Conqueror's banner changed. There's like so many different routes that can be taken. There really are. And I would be absolutely happy with any of them. But go over it together. How you been doing? Anybody asked you that lately? Probably have, and if you're like me, my basic go-to response is, well, same shit, different toilet. Everything kind of sucks, but we gotta look at life in a little bit of a positive note. That's about it. Go into the video. Roll the sweet intro! Never mind, we still don't have one. Alright. So, a little bit of recap since the last video on why I chose to be Necrolord. I'm still standing by all my points from before. I'm playing it because I like it. I like the idea and fantasy behind being a Necrolord Warrior. I don't really look too Necrolordish right now, but that's just because I love rocking the set I finally got for hitting 1800 in Arena. I still haven't caved. I haven't gone Kyrian for the spear, regardless of how insanely strong it feels in PvP. And I say that with almost 1,000 games of Arena played this season alone. Don't get me wrong, it's not like I'm playing 1,000 games of Arena and a crazy rating or anything like that. I'm pretty average. But played 1,000 games of Arena. Whether they be meme games or serious ones. We only started taking it seriously last week or so. I don't care about rating, so I don't need to worry about all that stuff behind that. And even if I was, it would be with my previous guild, and they wouldn't force me to be a specific covenant. Condemn is still wicked strong regardless. And I acknowledge those things being really good. Shit, dude, Night Fae is really good. I've seen some Night Fae warriors fucking pump in Arena. That knockdown ability is no joke, and some of the conduits they have, soulbinds, are really strong. I know I'm at a deficit a little bit for being Necrolord, but it still hasn't gotten to a point where it outweighs my love for the zone, or for the characters that I interact with, or the cosmetics behind them, the mounts, my silly banner. Like, I still dig it, dude. I still dig it. This banner is ridiculous. And I love it. I just wish this was better. That's it. Like, this thing right here, that tiny little banner, which even though it's way bigger on my back, I really wish that was better. So to recap on that a little bit, I will read out the ability for all of you folks at home, or where the fuck you're watching this. Conqueror's Banner is a 3-minute cooldown. Plant the Conqueror's Banner in the ground, granting 20% maximum health, and 10% critical strike chance for you and 2 allies within 15 yards of the banner for 20 seconds. While active, spending 20 rage and killing enemies grants you glory. Glory increases your critical strike damage, not chance, damage, by 1% per stack, up to 30% for 30 seconds. Again, on paper, that reads pretty fantastic. In practice, with continuously playing 30 hours a week since expansion launch, it doesn't play out that well. In Mythic Plus content, you know what? It doesn't feel too bad. But I still know if side by side with a Venthyr or a Kyrian Warrior or a Night Fae Warrior, I'm probably in some bad shoes. Right? I guess hooves or hoof place. Whatever. It doesn't outweigh. And especially when it comes to PvP content, which seems to be the route that I've been going a lot for this expansion, and probably what I'm just going to continue to do. Because even with all the chaotic burst damage happening right now in Arena, I still enjoy it. And it could be because I'm just used to being absolutely destroyed, and I've just accepted that as fate in a lot of scenarios, or I've just seen enough crap in life that I can deal with it. But regardless, this needs to be changed. It needs to be adjusted. And I feel like there's a few ways they could do this. The easiest and simplest way, I would think, to change Conqueror's banner, and this could be extreme, but we'll just title it like this: reduce the cooldown. So if the cooldown were to be reduced, I feel like it'd be better. With the adjustment of reducing the cooldown, I would also say, in the spending rage matter to get your critical strike damage, reduce that to 10 rage spent or killing enemies. Because realistically in PvP content, when I drop this banner and I move, it's already useless. So like for the 20 seconds, if I can keep a target in that ring, which is not going to happen in PvP, yeah, I get 10% crit strike. The secondary bonus of it, which is what makes it okay, not grand, just okay, is completely useless. So in most of the arena games I played, I was placing it just to land hopefully a crit execute, or to help bolster my arena partners so they get bonus health increase. And with being a 3-minute cooldown, I'd place it once per game. As we're doing twos, because it was Holy Paladin and me, and obviously fighting up against other teams that are healers, maybe I could get 2 placed, right? You maybe get 4 seconds of that 20-second utility out of it. So if they were to reduce it, and I would accept this, like reduce everything by half, make even the health 20% maximum health and 5% critical strike for a minute half cooldown, I'd be okay with it, but it still wouldn't fix it. It would have to reduce the rage spent in banner to 10, I think. Would be the best way. A 2-minute cooldown, like in an ideal world, right? Speaking ideally here. Ideal world, this would be a 1.5 minute cooldown. The glory stacks would go up to 15, and it would only cost 10 rage to get a stack of glory. Then maybe in that scenario, you can actually get some utility out of its placement, getting the crit from it. And then maybe even in a PvP scenario, you could get to 10 out of the 15 stacks in that short amount of time. That's what I could predict. Even then, with the current things and how they're going, this is my PvE gear. Let's switch that real quick. And trying to prioritize some critical strike to make utility out of my sad covenant. 15% crit, cool. It goes up to 20. Like, with critical strike damage, what's the point of having 15% or 30% critical strike damage that are to be adjusted when you only have, when this is down, 15% crit? I don't even feel like that would be game breaking to make it so people are like, oh crap, need to change over to being a Necrolord Warrior because that banner is really sweet now. No, it would still pretty much place in the same category. I think reducing the rage cost to get glory would make it a little bit better. It doesn't seem so sad. Another alternative that we could do would be this cosmetic thing where it's on the back. This should be what radiates. I was actually under the misconception that that's how it was going to work going into the expansion, was you have this banner on your back and then it radiates off of this. And so with me moving in PvP, I could get full utility out of my banner, and if people are within range of me, they can get those stacks too. So that means I could intervene to an ally, I could charge to a target, etc., get placement on myself, and if we're really going ham, like maybe 2 DPS and 3s on a target, placing that banner, no matter where they move, at least we're still getting that 10% crit and 20% health increase. That would be the best. I'd be okay with the 3-minute cooldown even in that regard. I really would be. I think that's the easiest thing to do, would be just make it radiate off the character. It seems simple, right? It really does. There's been other things like talked about, like maybe bolster the banner up. So maybe instead of being 10% crit, it gives you a 20. The health increase, don't really care too much about that. Maybe increase the critical strike damage you get from it. I feel like that just worsens the problem. It's not going to fix it in how it works in a PvP scenario. The spear is really good in PvP scenario, pulling targets in. Condemn is really hard hitting damage out the gate and as a finisher. The shockwave ability, pardon me, I have not played, I think it's called Aftershock, is really good. Knock down a target, do a little bit of damage. Those all have utility in PvP and PvE. This banner truly only feels like it has utility in PvE, and even then, it's like, why are you not the other covenants? So, if I were to change banner, hello, Bladestorm. If I were to change banner, I would either want the rage cost reduced to get glory, the cooldown reduced, the ability, or for it just to radiate off the character. I think those are 3 easy ways. Some people could argue in PvP that keep it standing still where its location is, maybe give it like incoming CCs have a reduced effect. It's like, what's the point? We have Skull Banner anyways. Or I've also theorized like maybe adding Leech to it, but then it just becomes a defensive utility ability, which is good for if you're a Prot Warrior, which they're not looking too hot right now. But it doesn't really help with damage throughput, and that's the concern. That's it. Would I go back and change anything? No, dude. I still wouldn't. I still would not go back and change a damn thing. I love my shitty banner. Actually, it's a conversation starter too, because when my ass is an Ouroboros and I have a banner on my back, I get a lot of questions. Because there's not a lot of warriors that are Necrolord. Like, how do you get that thing? It's like Necrolord Covenant ability. What's that even do? Never seen it. I'm like, it does this. I'm like, wow, that seems cool. It's like, is it good? I'm like, nope. People pop into the Twitch stream, like, dude, a Necrolord Warrior? That's crazy. How are things? Is it good? I'm like, no. Go any other Covenant. Literally anything else is better than what I'm rocking over here. And then they just question my sanity, and I'm like, well, it's pretty gone, so don't worry about that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It seems like... Actually, let's go back to the soulbind. I was going to go ahead and target something for a little bit, just so I had something to do. But let's go mess with our soulbinds a little bit. I'll show you what I've been trying to maneuver around for PvP and PvE scenarios as a Necrolord Warrior. So I'm talking to less than 1% of the community. How you guys doing? Hope you're doing well. You're still watching this? Hit that subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. We'll come out with a video at least once a month. That's the new aim. I'm sorry, I gotta laugh at myself. This is what I rock for PP. It didn't seem like this was decent on paper when it was a little lower for its item level, but a 14% chance for a secondary Mortal Strike has really helped break down targets and cleave them down. Overpower, and this is something that I learned from the interwebs, from watching and doing research on PvP Warriors. Crash the Ramparts I thought was actually going to be kind of useless, but Overpower actually deals a decent chunk of damage. Surprisingly, it outweighs Slam, which if you noticed, Slam isn't even on my fucking bars, dude. It's not even there. I literally replaced it with Ignore Pain. And I have a macro set up so that whenever I use Ignore Pain, it also casts Overpower because you have a chance to get Overpower to reset on spending Rage. So I'm constantly taking reduced damage, also still dishing it out. Didn't use Slam. Slam sucks. It really does. Anywho, I like going with Marleth, not just because he says, "Ah, my apprentice," but because of this dude. This little effect right here. Oozes frictionless coating. When reduced below 50% health, Ooze covers you, granting you a shield for 15% of your maximum health for 10 seconds. This may occur once every 30 seconds. So on a 30-second cooldown, internally, you don't have to manage it, you don't have to pop it or anything, you'll get a 15% absorb shield for your health. It's pretty good for survivability. Defensive things, go down with the sword, reduce the cooldown, makes it sweet. This is absolutely useless. And inspiring presence, rallies, increases your maximum health by 28% and duration. So it makes that rally really, really bump. PvE content changes up a wee bit. And actually just went for this Mortal Kombat just because I liked it, honestly. But Enmity is what I use PvE. Lead by example is probably one of the best things you can get. And it's also your only choice. Conqueror's banner increases your strength by 5% and up to 4 allies primary set by 2% for 30 seconds. And you get an additional 2% strength for each ally affected. Pretty decent. So if people are standing in the banner, it's going to be a decent stat boost for me and my allies. Veteran's Repute, the one that drops off the world bosses. It is not a 100% drop, unfortunately. It took 4 world boss skills for me to get mine, I think. Conqueror's banner immediately grants you 5 glory. While the banner is active, planted, your strength is increased by 14%. So you would think with that, maybe you could get some utility in PvP scenarios with it. It's like, okay, cool. Boom. At least I get a guaranteed 5% critical strike damage. It doesn't fix the problem. I still, like, so when this goes away, right? Which actually, okay, that doesn't work like that. Walk out of the battle location. Cool, because that's how useless it is over there. Hi, buddy, how you doing? You did your job, I guess. I get my 5% strength and I get 5% critical strike damage bonus. It's on 15% crit chance. So what's the point? I have 15% chance to get 5% more damage on a crit. It's just not good. So I haven't been using that one. With, gonna botch this name. Hiramir. Terrible. I liked this in theory just because of how many times I saw Night Phase get potted. And I was like, hey, look, I got a pod. It also kind of sucks though. Your strength and armor increased by 1% for each enchantment on your armor up to 3%. Upon death, your armor anchors to your soul, allowing you to fight for an additional 10 seconds. Okay, sweet. That seems pretty neat. And it actually looks really cool too. During this time, your damage and healing done is reduced by 50% and you cannot receive healing. So that's where it gets kind of poopy. There is utility behind it though, because if you do happen to fall in combat, then okay, you can get a commanding shout out for your team, you can intervene a target, soak a hit, you can stun a target, fear one, etc. But it didn't seem to outplay going for this Absorber Shield. So that's why I went for this one. Anything else Warrior Necrolord related that I could speak of, really? Not particular. Fleshcraft, they did fix that for Arena. Let you folks know if you happen to be Necrolord or you've been considering it for maybe other classes like a DK that's better. Before, when you would walk into Arena, you could not precast Fleshcraft. It made it so that you had to have the gates open up and then you could cast it. They have fixed it now so you can precast it before the gates open, and that actually helps out quite a bit because it sucked to stall games and not like hit the ground running doing Arena because I had to Fleshcraft. And it's like, you might as well, because you start off the encounter in PvP combat with a 7,000 of damage absorber shield. It's a pretty decent buffer. And then if you do it as soon as you pop in the arena, the cooldown still starts to reset. So you can actually try to get some midway utility. Are you going to cast Fleshcraft in the middle of arena combat? No, typically. But if you're fighting up against Rogue Mage trying to get a reset off, Fleshcraft has been my go-to. Or if your healer really needs to make sure they can get their cast out, I've actually been using it to soak an interrupt. Because I don't think a lot of people know truly how not essential Fleshcraft is. It's nice, but it's not mandatory. So I'll go up to my healer, I'll start Fleshcrafting, and in most cases people freak out. They're like, oh crap, that's a big damage absorb shield. I need to interrupt that. So I'll actually soak an interrupt from somebody so that my healer can actually get some casts off. So it's kind of weird, like psychological play. It works out almost every time. 100% of the time, it works every time. Wasn't that the joke from Anchorman? I don't remember anymore. Anywho, that's about my recap on Necrolord Warrior things. Still don't regret anything. I love it. I just wish this thing was a little bit better. That's the TLDR. TLDR, hey, Hey Blizzard, it's your boy. One of the sad people that chose Necrolord because it looks really cool in aesthetics. Can we get a buff? I'd really appreciate it. You have no idea how much I would really appreciate that. But seriously, let's back it up. Back it up. I made this video because there was a lot of people commenting on like Instagram and on YouTube that, and well, yeah, on Twitch too, but not really so much on Twitter. I don't really do a lot there, but you're saying there was a lot of people commenting saying like, you know what, man, fuck the meta. I'm gonna do what I want to do. And there was other people commenting saying like, you're the reason why I chose to go off meta, because I want to just enjoy the game with the covenant that speaks to me and what I want to play through, experience, and see. And that's really cool. And if your priority isn't to be in the next Race to World First or to be in the next AWC, etc., your primary goal isn't to kill Mythic Denathrius or be 3000 in Arena, you should. And you should feel like you're welcome to. And you should also be around people that are accepting of that. And that's kind of a complicated one. Definitely. Especially if you're one of those folks that pops into the game, you may be able to play once a week, and you're trying to get into some Mythic Dungeons or into some Arena, and they see your Covenant. That's been some interesting conversations I've had when we were like pugging healers for 3s. I was like, hey, fair warning, I'm Necrolord. And thing is, most people don't even know what we do, so they're like, what do you mean? That's totally fine. And then they see a few games and like, where's your spear? Why is your Condemn not hitting hard? I literally got asked so much about why don't I have Condemn on my bar that I made a fucking macro that changes executes icon to Condemn and Heroic Leap to Door Shadows. Boom. Look, also drops a broom. But I got asked so frequently about why I don't have that. It's like, oh, there we go. I put a macro there so I can pretend like I went the good Covenant choice. I'm still happy with it, man. I really am. This video probably dragged out a little bit too long. If you made it this far, here's a free high five for you. Did you get it? Did we touch? There we go. Good job. We high-fived. Yeah, thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and my bumbling and banter and whatnot. I know I'm not the most fantastic YouTube content creator out there, but if I can find any kind of inspiration or something to make a YouTube video, I'm gonna try, damn it. And for all of you folks that happen to choose Necrolord Warrior, you gotta pray with me, man. You gotta pray with me. We're gonna see some buffs happen soon. They're nerfing a lot of things. We get a 3% damage buff this Tuesday? Visible Watch? Tuesday. We get a 3% damage buff across the board, Arms Warriors. A little confused by that one, not gonna lie. I felt like we're actually performing okay, but in PvE, underperforming compared to other classes and raid tiers, etc. But we need a Necrolord Warrior specific buff. That everybody got buffed. It doesn't matter. It's like, okay, cool, so I'm still vent there. And if you guys have any suggestions, like, please put them in the comments below. A lot of people did comment on the Necrolord video on why, and saying their 2 cents on what they would like to change about the Necrolord banner. Please do so now. Now's your time. You can pause the video real quick. Okay, look, I'm paused. You scroll down and you comment your 2 cents. Everybody has a voice. Voice your opinion. Say how my banner sucks. I've been told worse things. Seriously, put it in the comments below. Write some things down about what you would like to change about the Conqueror's banner. It could be as ridiculous as make it a 5-second cooldown, or it could be a more serious note and saying, I think they could adjust glory to do this, and let's break it down. Let's have a community discussion about what possibly could be changed about Necrolord Warriors that wouldn't make it so that people would have to change from different covenants and go towards it, but just make it so they're somewhat competitive with the others. I'm totally okay with Necrolord being still the bottom choice. It's just about the gap of the bottom choice that is concerning. And that's it. And it's still not concerning enough because obviously your boy's still playing Necrolord, so it doesn't matter, right? But it would be nice to see some kind of effort put towards fixing that banner up. That's about it. Did you guys like the video? Lengthy? Long and lengthy? Is it lengthy? Jesus Christ. Anywho, yeah, if you liked the video, toss a follow on Twitch. I'd really appreciate it. That means you have to go to a different website. It's complicated, but that's where I do streaming. Instagram, primary source of social media. So there's that thing. And Twitter, because everybody has to have a Twitter. If you don't, like, what are you doing? You pretty much are required to. There's no contract that says you do, but you do. There would be a really cool social link for YouTube if I got that made. That's it. There's not really an excuse for it. I just didn't have the foresight to have that one happen. But imagine like a really cool little animation right here, and it shows like my logo, and then it shows like a subscribe button. You hit it, and then it also goes over to the notification bell. Did you imagine it? Ah, you can do it. It's free. Entirely free. I don't know of an awkward way to end this video. Any suggestions? Bye.